Another episode of Real Talk with Mike Burke. I'm my co-host here, Garrett, and we have the pleasure today with Bren Eifler. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And he runs IBX Media or IBX Digital?
IBX Digital.
IBX Digital. What is IBX Digital?
So it is a marketing company, and we essentially do lead generation. And what that looks like is Google ads, Facebook ads, anything that's going to help drive the growth for the leads. And we do lead management, make sure that every lead's followed up with. There's a lot of other stuff, as I'm sure we'll get into.
So, Bren, how long have you and I actually been doing business together?
Since 2019. So we're going on 6+ years.
6 years. Who introduced us?
Mike Dickerman.
Who's Mike Dickerman?
He is a friend that I met at a church business breakfast, and I heard his story. And from there, he's like, hey, I got to introduce you to Mike Burke. And I was like, great. I was a new digital marketing agency and just founded the company, had some clients, and I was getting out there networking.
That's awesome. Yeah, Mike's been my web developer. I was his very first paying client. I don't know if he knew that or not. So at Lightning Mike's window tinting, I met this guy, and I had asked my tattoo artist who did their website. And she goes, well, we haven't really got it done. I said, but my buddy, Mike Dickerman is getting in the website. So you might want to reach out to him. And so I reached out to him. He lived literally 5 minutes away from my shop on Monroe Road. Had him come over to the shop. And I said, bro, I just want a freaking website. And I threw some cash at him. I said, make it happen. And I want to be badass. And he came back and delivered, and we became friends ever since. And he shoots guns on my farm, and we've been friends for almost 30 years.
Wow.
I mean, I trust him more than anybody. Does my websites. He's a friend. He's family. We do business together. And, as all business relationships, even with him, he had a hard time later in life after like 15, 20 years of doing business together, charging me, and then, hey, I'll do this for you. I'll do that for you. And I made it very clear to him years later. I sat down and I said, Mike, treat me like you do anyone else. Call me, give me details, charge me what you would charge anybody else. And if you think that you want to give me a discount, make me aware of what you charge other people and say, I know we have a long lasting relationship, but if you want to do things for me wholesale, and you want to say, Mike, I'm giving you a 20% break on all of my services because you do so much with us, make it clear to me, because I don't know. You understand that, Garrett? So in relationships, let's talk a little bit about relationships. Anybody that has a relationship with any type of person they do business with, there's a certain expectation. I mean, do you have any examples of that in your experience, Garrett?
I mean, I guess I've got a ton. When I worked in jewelry, I had a ton of clients that I would form relationships with outside of the store. And it was never, when we were outside the store, it was never about work, but I would always, bring things up. They would never expect a discount because we had that relationship, because it was more about the trust that they knew I was getting them the right product, the right piece, whatever they wanted, they knew it was going to be right. Now, if I said, hey, I'll take care of you on this, they knew, I made sure to tell them, hey, I could actually do it for this.
Does anybody ever make you feel uncomfortable, like pushing their relationship to try to get a better deal?
Actually, I have that more now with what we do than anything.
And what do we do?
With window tinting, paint protection film, ceramic coating, I have people who will inquire that, man, I've done 2 cars with you. Come on, you can do, you can work with me on that. I'm like, okay, well, when was the last time? Well, about 5 years ago. Like, but really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I had a guy do that to me one time, Bren, where they came in the store and I was like, man, I went to Lowe's. I was working on a project at my house. I went to Lowe's 3 times in the same day. Same cash register, lady, same everything. I kept doing business with the same company over and over and over. What's wrong with that? In your experience, Bren, I'm going to go into your background a little bit later, but do you experience any relationship issues with other clients that are just expecting a certain deal and a better deal with you because they're doing so much business with you?
I wouldn't say it's ever an issue, but a lot of times what'll happen is there could be a volume discount. I just doing so much that it makes sense. Or the work is not as in depth. So, based on the scope of work, we can always adjust. Always want to be fair. Always want to make sure it works.
So what made you get into doing digital marketing? Like, what you woke up one day and you said, what were you doing prior? And then what got you into doing this?
So I was a web developer for a nonprofit for 8 years. And
Wow.
prior to that, I did freelance web development. And, I had just gone freelance full time. And a friend of mine introduced me to this book called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller.
Yeah, you sent it to me.
And when I read that book, I realized what I was doing was marketing, but I thought I was a web developer. I thought that I was like going to be a programmer or something. And I'm like, nobody really wants a website. They want the sales that come from the website. They want the branding. They want the image, the visibility. And when I realized that, I'm like, I actually do all of this. I need to really go deeper into what this looks like, marketing strategy, the writing, how to understand the buyer psychology, and it became just a lot of fun.
When we met, how many clients did you have?
Oh, probably a handful.
Handful. And what
Yeah.
were you doing with them? Just digital marketing? Did you do websites for them too?
I was doing websites, a lot of websites. We were building some custom development projects for a real estate company. They were wanting to do some virtual tours where they were basically aggregating all the virtual tours in an area for real estate. It was this big, giant project, and kind of coming on the tail end of that.
So when you went out on your own, were you scared? Were you nervous?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
So to switch industries in a certain sense and also go out freelance was the kind of thing that, you can gear up for it, but then you got to dive into it. And I had just finished up a project with a startup where I had essentially been laid off because the algorithm on Facebook changed. And we were doing some days, thousands of dollars a day in advertising. And I learned the Facebook algorithm pretty well. And now it all dried up. And I was just about to have my first child. I just bought my first house. And
Scary.
let's just say I made a few phone calls, and one of my friends who's the VP of the nonprofit said, Bren, I think you should become a consultant. And I was like, how do you do that? I had no idea. And then doing the freelance work led to the story brand, and then I became a story brand guide. I paid the $10,000. I went to Nashville, took the certification, went through all that, and they started sending me leads. And from there, I started doing branding, strategy, copywriting, messaging, and met a business coach there that I started working with, and he started mentoring me. And one of my questions at that training was, how do I have confidence when I'm just freshly minted? And they said, you should have confidence in the framework, the system, and the process that we've defined. You follow it, you'll do fine. And they were right.
Yep. Confidence. Garrett, when did you get confidence? Are you confident? I think you're pretty damn confident.
There's actually a hilarious, so far off topic. I did an off-roading course in Orlando, Florida, long time ago. Just got my license, and I was able to, drive this Jeep Wrangler up a hill. And he goes, okay, take it slow, blah, blah, blah. And I was, ready for that hill. I was so excited, and we did it, and we got up, and man, you drive angry. I said, no, I'm just determined. And for me, confidence came because of how I grew up. I grew up in a sales background family. My dad owned his own company. My mom was running her own company, and I was forced to be social. I was forced to go to events. I was not really forced. We entertained, and I liked that.
Okay, the key word here that the audience needs to pick up on: you were forced to do something you did not want to do.
But I didn't. But here's the.
But it was a force.
There's a negative connotation to force. I didn't have any control.
Correct.
So it's not as though I was imposed to. I was dragged kicking and screaming to these events, but I was able to be social with so many different backgrounds of life.
But I was going to dive into confidence. And
But-
some of the things that I've read and some of the people that have mentored me, and I would say that I'm pretty freaking confident.
But that what I'm getting to is I was nurtured into confidence.
Yes.
But I had some nature, fortunately, but I was nurtured into confidence. And I like being able to talk to anybody. I like being able to have some fun. And if you have fun with it, you are going to be confident if you like what you do.
When did you wake up and go, I'm confident?
I don't. You know, what's funny is I don't think that. There are aspects of my life that I don't think I'm confident. When it comes to sales, when it comes to knowledge, when it comes to car knowledge, I know I'm confident. Those are things. There are specific things that I know I'm confident in.
Okay. So that's a key point. And that's what I'm going to circle back around to, is confidence. When you have accomplished something that's very difficult and you've done it at an excellent high level, and other people can recognize what you've done at a high level, you don't just wake up one day and go, I'm confident. You've been validated through what you've done through a hard process. You've done something hard.
Sorry, actually, now that I've had a chance to think about it, I know exactly when it happened.
Yeah.
The end, December 31st, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I'd finished my first year at the jewelry store. I was given a chance, and I had not been, in my whole career prior to that, I had not been able to, nobody gave me the ability to show how good I was at sales. I was the first person in a company's 26-year history to ever hit $1 million in the first year.
Wow.
And that I was like, damn, I'm good at this.
Mm-hmm.
And then did 50% over that the next year, and then 50% over that the next year. So that December 31st, 2019 is when I knew I was confident in sales.
So one thing I'm going to talk about is confidence. Bren is, in my opinion, the most confident person I know in his space. So if you were to get in a room with what I would consider supercomputers, okay, and I've got a room of servers in here, and there's 20 of them, Bren belongs at that table because he has earned the right to be labeled a supercomputer.
I appreciate that, Mike.
So your knowledge, your experience, the data that you have witnessed and looked at and charted over the last 5-6 years has created this memory bank of what's worked and what hasn't worked. And so you have a formula now of success. You're seeing success. You're seeing stores that you've worked with, other shops that you've worked with in marketing, in digital space. And you are considered an ad agency. And one thing that you have done in the last 6 years, I was probably one of your first bigger clients, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what happened is I grew, you grew, we brought on staff that needed to basically mediate a lot of different growth sectors of Sunstoppers. And we tried a lot of new things. And I was financing a lot of those things because I wanted to succeed and I wanted to grow and I wanted to see how far we could push the envelope with our company. And you were willing, and you are willing all the time, every time we have a conversation. You know what, Mike? I don't have the answer to that, but I will have that answer for you tomorrow. And I will research it tonight. I will stay up late. I will get 2 teams working on it, and I will have the data to support whatever we need to do tomorrow. And I will have a better game plan of that tomorrow. One thing Bren doesn't do is tell you yes to something he can't do. He will turn around and say, if I can't do it, I know who can, and I know how to develop it, but give me a shot at letting me be the point man guiding the team. Is that not accurate?
That's true.
So your strengths, what are they?
So personal strengths, I learn fast. I like a lot of different things. And, you know, as a result, I naturally gravitate towards technical and communication. And it's an interesting intersection. Like I couldn't figure out if I'm going to be a writer, a programmer, a graphic designer. You know, there's so many different things. And where it ends up working the best is actually leading a team of people who are specialists at their individual areas and then orchestrating it because I understand what they're doing and understand how to find good people. And I have to say, when you have the team and you know how to find the right people, man,
I found Bren through Mike Dickerman, and then I found Garrett through my girlfriend, everything just kind of opens one door to another door. Like, I never knew I was going to have such a great relationship with Garrett, and he's going to be my sales manager. I mean, we've grown together, but when we first met, you're not the same person.
Nope.
When I met Bren, you're not the same person.
That's true.
Your confidence in dealing with people one-on-one was probably a little bit more bashful, a little bit, not bashful, but kind of like a timid.
Oh, it's true.
And look at you now. You're going to seminars, you're coaching, not coaching, but you're teaching and lecturing in Winston-Salem.
Yeah, I went to Wake Forest University.
Wake Forest. He's now doing marketing, teaching. And you got into our space, which is window tinting, paint protection, ceramic coating. And Bren has been kind of like this secret grandma's recipe from Italy. It's kind of like, hey, I have a little note in like one of those little, what are those things called? The little pop-up things that you have, like
Rolodex.
The Rolodex with like the index cards.
Mm-hmm.
He's the index card that when your ancestors came over on a boat, there's the index card, right? And then your ancestors passed that card down, right? He's the recipe that makes the sauce. We just watched a movie on Netflix about this Italian restaurant with grandmothers in Staten Island. And it's all these grandmothers that brought their recipes, and they're the cooks at this restaurant in Staten Island. And you reminded me of that. What you are is a secret recipe. And you've been hidden in the shadows for so long that here now you're ready to shine, and you want to be out in the public and talk to the customers and hear their pain points and not go through a broker. And you want to be dealing with the client themselves, so you can ask questions and give them the data and show them the charts and show them what the real analytics of their business is doing. Is that not correct?
That's absolutely correct. At the end of the day, I want to help people.
Right.
My passion is problem solving, seeing people's lives be improved. I love seeing businesses grow. I love seeing, people have more jobs, better jobs. It's very fulfilling.
So the other thing is that you worked with Go High Level. Okay. Go High Level is a CRM platform that has been around for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a lot of companies white labeling. Can you explain to me what white labeling is?
Yeah. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking the bottle. It's kind of how, imagine an assembly line. Off the end of that line comes a bottle with a white label on it, and then it goes through the printing machine, and it prints company A, company B, company C, their logos, their name, but it's the same bottle. And so you can do the same thing with software. You can put your logo on it.
Can you change the ingredients? Can you move it around, make it identical, make it yours?
You absolutely can. There are certain things that you can't change about it, but when it comes down to the messaging, the processes, the workflow, that's what really matters, is how you organize the communications. In the case of Go High Level as a CRM, how you set up that automation, and most importantly, the message that you're using, the sales message, is what is going to.
So if you're a shop and they call you or me, and they go, "Hey man, I found this Go High Level. It's $100 to get an account, right?
Mm-hmm.
You just log in, open an account.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting an iPhone from the manufacturer with no apps.
Right.
It's basically, here you go.
Yep.
It's right there. All of these potential things that you can do with it are right there. You got to go to YouTube. You got to study it. You got to call for tech support. You got to call for assistant. You got to get it set up. You got to get the phone numbers. You don't know everything an iPhone can do until you've owned an iPhone for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
You have no idea. You're sitting there, you got this phone, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't know it could do that.
And even then you're only using 30% of what's actually able.
It's like our brains. We're looking at 5%. So when you've got a master's degree in this Go High Level white labeled product, you have a master's degree of knowing how to create process and the responses and how to add phone numbers and how to integrate it to collect data. And the average consumer doesn't understand it's not $100 value.
Right.
It's, you're going to have to pay someone on your team or somebody at your shop or someone behind the scenes to coach you through how this thing works and what it can do. Right?
That's right.
It's like you look at like an IndyCar driver, like Scott McLaughlin was on here. He's got a driving coach. He's got a guy watching him and saying, hey, you're going a little high here. You're going a little low there. He's a badass freaking race car driver driving a badass car,
Mm-hmm.
but he has no idea what the potential of what he can do until he's got other eyes looking at him, telling him, hey, your RPM is this high, this is that low, your tires and traction. It takes a team of people to make him perform at the highest level. You have many people on your team.
Mm-hmm.
And what I am here today to do is introduce the public to Bren. Bren is not wanting to be in the shadows anymore and wants to work with multiple shops directly.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm out in the public and I'm out seeing everyone, I want to introduce people to the real hardworking people behind the scenes. Like one thing him and I brainstormed on was, it's kind of like having a super nerd. Is that a good analogy, super nerd?
Depends on what people think of when they think of a super nerd. They think of someone who's awkward, who's, difficult.
What would
antisocial.
describe you the best for someone that was coming not from your world, that comes from like a retail world that's sales driven, and then they meet you? What would a title be for you so they could just get it in really elementary terms? What would be a good term for you?
I would say you're gonna meet me. I'm your marketing strategist.
Okay, but I need something more powerful than that.
Something more.
Like you're an engineer, you're an analytics
Information officer.
Yeah,
Now,
information
chief marketing officer is really where that
scientist.
there is a scientific process to it. There's art and there's science in it.
Right.
Yeah. There's
Audrey, if you got a
title.
chance, could you ask chat what would be a good name for us? I want to get a title to Bren, because when I'm out in public, I'm just sitting there like, I want to tell people he's my super nerd. And like, you ever think of that server room, like that back computer back in the office that is just blinking all day long? That's Bren. He's making everything happen. He's got a team of animals that are just, making things happen. And it's nice to get you to want to come out in the public and introduce yourself to the secret sauce. You're the Italian grandmother that has the recipe on this index card, and I want to introduce people to your recipe.
Well, thank you, Mike. And it's an honor. And I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm excited to meet more people. I'm excited to work more directly and help people, reach their goals. And really, at the end of the day, that's what matters. And quickly back to the CRM,
Yeah.
you can spend months, years trying to refine a process yourself because you're like, oh, I don't want to pay more than $100 a month. Or, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to get HubSpot for free. Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, it gets really expensive once it gets past the free plans, like $800 to $1,500 a month. But, those prices are always changing, and there's a ton of CRMs out there. What matters is not the CRM itself. It's kind of like the car. Mm-hmm. It's how you drive it. Mm-hmm. It's the experience. Can you take years of experience and plug it in and start to implement it right away? It's almost like if you could imagine hiring the race car driver, or trying to drive the race car yourself, but you're not trained to drive a race car. You're going to have to practice it. You're going to have to test it. It's going to take you a lot of time, money, and energy.
You can wreck the car too.
You can wreck it too. Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to slow your business down. It's going to slow your growth down. And then you can take a formula that already works and just plug it in. So you
take something like this and you market it to the public. You factor in either this is the same price as what Go High Level charges you, this is my hourly rate to coach you and teach you, or I give you a flat rate for it, and it includes this amount of time to coach you through the services, right?
Exactly. Or you get this amount of time for support, or you can buy packages of like, here are the templates that we've already created that you can now plug it in. So,
well, the thing is, when I went and bought an iPhone years ago and I bought an iPad, they asked me for Apple Care. I go, what the hell is Apple Care? Well, for 3 years, you can call and get tech support. You can come in the store. You can do the Genius Bar.
Something happens to it.
Something happens. You can do this, this, and this. And then, if you need a problem solved, call this person. They can coach you through it. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't need to buy that shit. Damn, lo and behold, about 6 months later, I needed the tech support. And I was calling these guys off the chain.
So Audrey sent me the list.
Okay.
Chief Digital Strategist. It's a good one.
Okay.
Growth and Innovation Lead. Marketing Technology Director. MarTech Director, Head of Digital Performance, SEO and Automation Architect. That's a cool one. Chief Marketing Technologist, Director of Demand Generation, Head of Growth Engineering, digital intelligence lead, and performance marketing architect.
Thank you, AI. You know what I would say?
Can we just put those all on a card?
Yeah, cool. You know, there actually is a title for this. I just learned about it. And it's not going to come to me right away, but it's essentially chief growth strategist or chief growth engineer, where your focus is on how do you grow a company.
All right, so let's talk about that. How do you grow a company? Where's step one? What do you do?
Step one, where's the company at?
Website?
They just started
Been in business for a year.
a year.
Okay, what do you do? Is the website, when you start, I'll say for one to the first year, what do? Do you get a website first?
What kind of business is it?
Any business. Doesn't matter what it is.
So let's use somebody who
Services
services business.
Yeah, so we clean windows.
Yeah. First thing you do is get a Google business profile.
Okay.
Number one.
That's step one.
That's step one.
People need to find you.
Okay.
Yep.
Find you. Google business
Yep,
profile.
you need to set it up. You need to set your areas, all that kind of stuff. Start getting reviews.
Okay.
A lot more details. Then you need your website.
Okay. Number two, website. Okay.
And then you're going to have to get some business in the door. So you're going to have to get out there.
What phone
Put
systems?
flyers. Obviously, you need a phone number. But if you're just
Run it
running,
myself.
if it's just you,
Just me.
you can run it on a cell phone.
I'm a mobile business. I just want to
Yep.
hit my cell phone. So can you get a Google My Business profile as a mobile business?
You can if you do a service area, you don't have an address.
Okay.
They will let you do that.
Okay. So that's important. So if you run a mobile business out there and you do any type of mobile services, give us a call. Bren can help set you up a business services area, right? So we want to help all businesses, right? We want to help anyone that is wanting to grow their business. And you have a team of strategists. You spend $10,000 to get what's called storyboard, storytelling. What was that?
Yeah. So essentially, it's your marketing plan. You want to,
And you're
Simple.
certified in this.
yeah. Well, and I'm no longer a guide, just for the record. So I've taken that and I've added more to it. At the end of the day, StoryBrand took a lot of the direct response copywriting. If you remember the shows about Mad Men, the marketing guys. So way back in the beginning, there are lots of famous copywriters, Claude Hopkins, John Caples, Eugene Schwartz. These guys really created the advertising industry. They're the ones who created those, back in the day, Popular Science full page articles about, how to play piano and impress your friends, how to transform your body. These are the guys who are taking what do people want? What are the problems in their way? And how does a company or a product have a unique formula to solve that problem? And when they differentiate a company and a product, they have, essentially created household brand names.
So you're an expert in many things. And if a small business calls you, you can coach them and strategize them on almost all aspects of their business, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so we got a Google My Business page. We've got a website. We got a cell phone. What's next? Google Ads?
Yeah, you could definitely do ads.
I only have $1,000 a month.
You can do it. You might start with LSA ads, but you might not get the right kind of leads.
What does that mean?
Oh, so Google local service ads or Google guaranteed. You're paying Google directly for a lead. Now, that lead,
Do you have to set up anything, a landing page?
you don't have to set up a landing page.
You just go straight to Google?
They can go straight to Google. You can put your phone number. Google can have it call you directly. You do need a website for it to be as, effective as possible.
But they'd be more efficient to run their business and call a guy like you to hand walk them through these processes, correct?
They definitely need someone to scope it out with them, to identify the best path for them. At the end of the day, I want what's best for them.
So another thing is, you and I had a strategy call the other day, and you go, I've got to get off the phone in 5 minutes. I have our personal Google rep. When you're a big account, you get assigned a Google rep. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So if you're just starting up a Google Ads account or an LSA account, you're going to not be talking to the top tier, and they will, they might not know what to tell you and what is going to be best for you. When you have a lot of accounts and you're doing, multiple six figures, what you're going to get is a better rep who has access to more, and they can get you into more things. and they can give
And they give you more
advice.
data
And they can give you,
saying, hey, we
perspective.
think you should steer the algorithm's going this way or the market's going this way. Now, one thing you did for me, I'll get to that, but one thing you did for me is you gave me a chart on keywords, on what's being searched. Dive into that, but finish what you were about to say.
Sure. So essentially, they can also tell you it's coming. The higher tier Google reps will tell you, here's an experimental feature, here's a policy change. And if your account gets shut down because you violated the policy, which, by the way, aren't very clear all the time, they can get your account back up a lot faster. But if you're at a low tier and you don't have someone to go through a partner, you might be shut down and not be able to advertise. So that is a factor. Back to what you were saying.
Yeah, so you had gotten me on the screen one day, and we talked about keywords. Which keywords were searched the most? Which ones, like if we were to say window tinting, ceramic coating, how many searches were there in window tinting for the U.S. this month? How many were last month? You have access to this system that can come in and give you kind of charts of what's the most searched keywords, correct?
That's right.
Can you dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So Google offers a keyword planner tool. There are other tools out there that you can use to essentially take a look at what's the volume, what's the cost per click, how much competition is there, so that you can dial into the kind of terms that people are actually looking for and validate, is someone actually searching for this type of word. Now, there are a lot of different ways to go with that, because you actually have to start advertising and seeing what kind of leads come from those search terms and those keywords, and determine, are these good clients? Are these qualified leads or not? And then you start calling some of those keywords or adding to it based on what you've learned.
So Facebook versus Google, tell me the difference.
Yeah, so there's this thing called the marketing funnel. And if you can imagine an upside down pyramid, at the top of it is awareness, and above that is lack of awareness. But below awareness, the people are starting to move into, now I'm considering a particular product. I'm interested. And now I'm in a decision phase. I'm going to make a decision. Now I've got to compare, which product am I going to go with? Then they get to the decision phase. So Facebook sits at the top end of that funnel, where people are either unaware, they don't know they have a problem, they are not thinking about it, and they see an ad and they're like, oh, that's cool. Paint protection film. Like, I didn't even know that existed before. They're seeing a demonstration of how it can protect the paint from, all kinds of damage. But they weren't thinking about it before. So now they're going to request a quote, and they might be 6 months away from making a decision. They're kicking the tires. They're just learning about it. And Google is further down the funnel. Someone already knows about it. They might have seen that video 6 months ago, and they're going to Google, and they're like, paint protection film near me. Like, I got a rock chip. That's the end of it. I don't want to have any more damage. Now they're looking for the best company to install it. That person is going to cost more from a click and lead basis than the Facebook lead, but they're further along the decision phase. So when they call up, they're going to be ready.
Which one eats the budget more? Like, if I could put $500 out there in Google and $500 in Facebook, which one's going to get burned quicker? Like, which one's going to, like, the burn rate?
So you're going to get more leads from Facebook, but you're probably going to get less qualified.
Is that what you find, Garrett? Because you're the sales manager for Sunstoppers, and you incoming leads for ceramic coating, paint protection, and you handle a lot of the sales for Temp 2. Are you asking or seeing where the good leads are coming from?
Yes, it's always a direct lead. Anytime we get a Facebook lead, I saw this a lot in Texas. It's someone either just clicked on it, and because they were already in it, they submitted, but they had a car that was a 1993 Maxima. So they weren't really looking for it. They just inquired. They were, what should have been directed is, hey, see you're interested, please give us a call to learn more. It shouldn't have been, here, submit this information for a quote. Like
Your
that.
volume, turn up your volume just here. I haven't heard something. Perfect. Thanks.
Better?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So to add a little bit to this, when I go into shops, and I'm going to say shops that do under $500,000 a year in sales, mostly XPEL stores that I visit, and these guys are in their shop, 3 employees, They just finished a car. It's 2:00 in the afternoon, and all three of them come to me and they go, "Hey man, there's the shop down the street's doing like a $25 off sale, blah, 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 blah." And I go, "Okay, how did you see this?" "Well, on Facebook, and it's all I see on Facebook is these guys are running these deals." And I'm like, "Okay, and you follow them, why? And they're your competitors?"
I've had this happen to me.
Go
a
ahead.
ton,
Go ahead.
because the Sunstoppers page follows so many different
Mhm.
installers, and whether they're with Expel or not, or
Mhm.
I get all these different ads.
Mhm.
There's one around here, $199 for a full car.
Yeah.
But that's because they're doing a promotion,
Yeah.
or they should. So what I often tell people, like, somebody's go, "Oh, well, do you run into?" I'm like, "No, what I'm telling you is, rather than mark it up to then say, cool, I'll give you a discount and just do it at the price that I normally would have. Why would I? I'm just going to be a straight shooter. I'm going to tell you honestly what it would actually take to do this."
Right. So what I coach now is when I go into shops, I was just in Phoenix, Arizona, and I visited a shop. The very first thing I told the owner after we started talking marketing and strategy is I said, "I'd like you to pull out your phone." I said, "How many of your competitors in Phoenix do you follow?" And he goes, "A lot of them." I said, "I'll sit here for 10 minutes and you have 10 minutes to now unfollow every single one of them, every single one of them. And I want you to block them so they cannot see what you're doing. And I want you to focus 100% and all your energy on what you're doing. And I want you to be creative. And I want you to focus all of your attention on creating better content that you as a customer, you have to think, you know a lot about window tint. Who are you marketing to?" And I just did this coaching call today from the airport to here. Okay. I had a young lady reached out to me, runs a tent shop, and she asked me for some advice. And I said, "Listen, she says, look over my social medias and tell me what you think I should be doing." And I said, "Okay, what you need to be doing is creating a problem. And then when you create the problem, solve it." And I said, "You're a woman, you're a tinter, you're attractive, and you're very personable. So you need to be on camera, not using your sex appeal to men. You need to be using your, I guess, as a female or woman, whatever the hell you want to call them these days, is appeal to a baby seat in the back seat of a car and go, okay, it's about to be summertime. And if you walk in a parking lot and you see someone that has a baby seat in a car with no windows tinted at all, that's a problem. Now you're creating sun damage for your baby, because when they're infants and they're young, the sun is way more intense on their skin. It can do way more harm at that age when they're very little. Because I know this about skin cancer because I battled it my whole life. Is go create a problem around babies and baby seats and not having tint, and then do an explanation of why you should do your windows tint, how much heat it rejects, how much UV it rejects, and show the window before and after, and then turn around and get on Nextdoor, then get in a mom's group, and then have someone share that their car was tinted in a group and why it's important. Now you have all the babies, because when my kids were really young, we used to go to Jamboree, and there was all these little mama groups and everything. Go to a mama's group. You're going into an area that no one is pitching to the women that are carrying these babies around all day long. We're catering to men who want sexy cars, sexy this. Hey, come bring your cool car.
Look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Privacy.
There's women drive cars too. Why are we not
Better
doing
for you.
Go ahead.
So, what is the other thing that somebody would consider their child?
Their dog, pet.
People will spend on their pet.
They will.
If it's their baby, they will spend. So the amount of times I've upsold somebody doing a full vehicle is when they say, "Oh yeah, well, I'm taking my dog." I'm like, "I just did this for a mom's car.
Yep.
It's worth it." I didn't get the breathing heavy in the back. I didn't get the.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
They're comfortable.
They're riding on a trip down to Florida
Mhm.
with their 2 dogs in the back, and the dogs are burning the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got a problem. And in marketing and Google ads, maybe we should create a Google ad appealing to dogs.
Absolutely. And to that point, you always want to be testing new messages, understanding who are the buyers you're talking to. You want to be talking to a very specific person. And a lot of times, you can rotate these messages around and you can see how one works in one season versus another. And that's really coming down to understanding your customer.
Right.
That's the first step. What's the problem?
Mm-hmm.
What do they want? and how do you help them get it? And why are you uniquely qualified as a business over and above the other competitors that they could be looking at?
I was just going to ask you, being in this field, what do you think of the adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it? Because I hear that a lot. Because somebody thinks, okay, I've done this and it's worked, and I'm just going to maintain like that.
Well, that's your baseline. That's your baseline, and you want to beat the baseline. You constantly want to be looking at, what did we do last time? How do we measure against it, and how do we beat it?
If you want to grow, do what you did last. If you don't want to grow, at all, do exactly what you did last year.
I mean,
But if you want to grow, you got to do what you did last year better. Right. And you got to put more on it. You got to do more. You got to push harder, push the envelope. The problem is people get to a comfortable zone. I'm coaching one of my Sunstoppers right now. I'm actually going to have a call with him this afternoon. And he went from one person running a shop to hiring an employee to now getting a second shop in a couple years, now doing residential commercial tinting. And he's kind of just doing marketing, sitting back. He's gained a little bit of weight. He's not as hungry. He's focused on marketing a little bit more. And I told him last night, I said, I wake up every single day thinking today I'm going to be broke, that someone's trying to break in my house and steal everything that I've ever worked hard for. And there's somebody knocking at my door every single morning if I let them in, they're going to rob my house. So I wake up every day thinking someone's taking from me and they're going to steal from me and they're going to come in my house unless I protect it. Unless I wake up with a hunger every single day, I don't have any food and I have no money. And today I've got to go out and create it. I've got to go hungry and go get it. And if I'm going to eat food today, I've got to go hunt. It's like a hunter. And we got to go out in the woods and we got to go kill an animal. And we've got to go bring it home to my family who's hungry. And we got to put food on the table. And if you wake up thinking I've got a refrigerator full of food, you're going to forget how to hunt. And you wake up every day hungry. And if you don't, you're never going to really hit your full potential. It's not that you're not going to be successful, because everybody has a different measure of success. But if you want to grow and you're not happy 5 years down the road, what can you do every single day to change the outcome for 2025? Like, if you want the same thing you did 2024, do the same thing you did last year. If you want to get, because guys go, man, I just want to grow. I want to get my second store. I want to hit $1 million in sales. Well, then you're going to have to do a lot of things uncomfortable. You're going to have to sell your boat. You're going to have to sell your big truck. And you're going to have to drive a company van for 2 years. And you're going to have to make some sacrifices.
The unsexy things.
The unsexy things. One thing my girlfriend talks about all the time.
That's a horrible segue.
The money is made in the things that are not sexy.
It's hard work.
Agreed.
It's hard work.
You can't be glamorous. Like, I think paint protection is glamorous, and I think you can make money at it. You can. But window tinting is a little dirtier. You're kind of getting you're in the shops, bam, bam, bam. Service, plumbing, electrical, all the service type in, mechanics. Mechanics are getting $200 an hour to work on cars nowadays. Like, it's more than a doctor used to make 10 years ago. So you got to look at the service industry and go, it's dirty. Not many people want to do it. But that's where the future money is. If you look at AI, you look at accountants, in 5 years, we're not going to need an accountant. But AI is going to do it all for you. You just plug the information and it comes back to you. You might need an accountant for to understand what you need to do for your taxes, unless they get rid of the tax code.
Hear that, IRS? AI is coming for you.
They are. But I mean, realistically, what is AI going to replace? What's it going to replace?
Oh, man. There are so many things, and there's a lot of speculation here. But in general, we're going to be doing more. We're going to be packing more into our day. The Industrial Revolution, people made these machines to create more convenience, and it has certainly created more convenience. But at the end of the day, we did more. We didn't sit around twiddling our thumbs. We started building bigger, faster.
You're a new business, just starting out, and you have $1,000 to $1,500 a month in an ad budget. Where do you spend it? Like, someone calls you and says, hey, Bren, I'm a small business. I don't have a lot of money. I'm struggling. What do you do for them?
So we'd look at this specific type of business, look at their current sales, current, what they're doing, what's working, and what they, are struggling with. And in general, what we'll look at is how can we best allocate that budget? And based on what's worked in the past, we'll take a look at that. But let's go back to, let's say it's a pressure washing company. And if it's working on Google, but they don't know their data, and they're like, yeah, it's working, but, I only have, a budget of $1,000 a month. Well, is that budget making you money? That's the first step. We need to know, is this going to make you money? Are we able to advertise profitably? We look at the cost per sale, your marketing cost per sale, and then we back into that. What's your lead to estimate ratio? How much are you spending on a lead? How many estimates are you closing? And then using those numbers, we can identify what's the maximum cost per lead that you can spend. And are you doing that right now? Is it higher than that? There's a lot of inefficiencies in a lot of ad campaigns, and there's a lot of ways to improve the cost per lead.
If your website's not set up to have a lead form,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a one-step lead form versus a two-step lead form, if you don't have the right information on there to collect the data, if you don't have a CRM that can text the customer right away when the information comes in, the old school ways of doing business, of just calling a phone number and getting a owner and talking to them on the phone, most people are sitting in front of computers. They're busy lifestyles. They want to text. Everything's on the go. Everything's on the go. I mean, we were literally walking through the airport this morning, and she goes, hey, you want a coffee? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and pre-order it, blah, blah, blah. When I get there, it'll be there. I'm like, years ago, I couldn't even understand this. Now it's like part of our daily routine at Starbucks. Before, we don't go stand in line. We just go pick up our stuff. It's like Uber Eats. Everything has gotten so much quicker, so much faster, so much quicker. Marketing, it's gotten faster. If you don't get your message across instantly, you lose the attention.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're innovative, you're creative, you have a team of people. Walk me through, we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes, but walk me through every single thing that you actually can do for a business.
So let's go through the buyer journey, and let's take window tint as an example. So someone goes to Google and they type in window tint near me. First thing they're going to see is Google Maps. So we can help you get visible on Google Maps.
How?
So the two ways: one, you got to have a Google Maps location and it needs to be optimized, which there's a lot in that, but we'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
You can also make that Google business location a sponsored listing. So it's an ad and it shows up above the competitors. So we can help you do that. Two, you're going to see advertisements. That's where we can come in. You're going to see the ad for window tint near me, and it's going to say something unique about the company. That ad takes them to the website. Your Google business profile is also something that will take them to the website. The ad might go to a different place. We call it a landing page, and it's conversion focused to have the sales message and make sure that
Can
person...
you explain to the audience what a landing page is?
Yeah, so basically the first page that a person goes to on a website is known as the landing page. And it can be a one-page website, or it can be a page inside of a website. But ideally, it's going to be optimized so that it doesn't distract people from requesting whatever action, like in this case, getting a quote. So we can set that up. We set up the form, and then we can also set up the automation on the back end. So when they hit that submit button, they get a text message, they get a phone call, they get an email, and then they're going to get follow-up. If they don't respond to it, hey, just want to make sure you got that message.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can run the ads, we can build the website, we can set up all the aspects of that entire system and help a person from soup to nuts, essentially. Take that person from they're interested in window tint to they're booking an appointment. Or if they don't book an appointment, we continue to follow up with them long-term using email, occasional text message.
Go into checkout. We use Square. And when a customer gets checked out and we get their information, what comes next? What automation do you have in process?
So we have a automated review request. It'll send them a text message, say, hey, hope you had a great time, and you got everything done you needed. Would you leave us a review? and that'll go out 15 minutes after they check out.
And that's important. Why are Google reviews important?
It's the number one factor people use when they're deciding what business to work with.
Now, the other thing is, if you post pictures on your Google My Business page and you post videos, the more content that you put on your page, you have to think of your Google My Business page almost like your Facebook page or your personal Instagram page. The more content you feed it, the more aware Google is of you, and they want to make you more relevant than the next guy. So if you're constantly feeding this little animal, it's going to show itself to more people. Is that correct?
For sure. Yeah, Google wants to see signals. They want to see that a business is active. So I talked to someone the other day. They're like, I don't get that many calls anymore. I'm like, have you been getting reviews? Have you been posting photos? No, I haven't really been paying attention to it. And that's what's going to happen when the market is going to then take over that space that you're now stagnant in. So you have to have that activity. And Google's always looking to put in front of people the best business.
Also, YouTube. Talk to me a little bit about YouTube and Google and how they work together.
Sure. So when someone's looking for how-to videos, they're wanting to see like, what are the aspects of this service that matter? Like they're trying to educate themselves. They go to YouTube. YouTube is the education platform. So if you have a video there that is going to show people what the difference is between different levels of tint or the different, quality, how much heat rejection happens with one versus another, that is a place you can build trust. You can build authority, credibility for the business.
So do you think small businesses should focus on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or should they be doing just Google My Business page and Google? If you had one platform, would it be YouTube and Google, or would it be TikTok? Where would you spend your efforts? Because I'm only one guy. I can only do effort in one place. I don't have 8 hours extra a day to go focus on all the platforms.
So are you a window tint company?
I am.
All right. So first thing you'd want to do is Google My Business. Well, really Google Business Profile is what they call it now. And you're going to get reviews, and you're going to make sure there's social proof in their photos. That's your first step. You're going to make sure it is dialed in. You have all your service areas figured out. You've got good descriptions, all of your services.
I don't have time to mess with this. If I just pick up the phone, call you and say, here it is, I can give you access to my stuff and you can do it for me, correct?
That's right.
So if I had a Dropbox or a Google Drive and I wanted to just drop pictures in it or whatever, you have a team of people that could probably make that happen for me.
Yep. And we have automations that can keep the photos going in.
And if I say, hey man, I've got a new reel I just posted, can I use your platform and you can post it on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all simultaneously with a different type of look to them?
Yeah.
You can do that in automation.
Yeah, that's something we're still developing, but it's
possible.
It is possible.
And you can do it.
Absolutely.
If somebody wanted to get it done and they wanted to get it done now and they had the budget to afford to do it, you don't have to hire internal media managers. Just have a place where you drop the content, you create it, you throw it out there, and you have a team of people behind the scenes that can do it.
That's right.
How many people do you have on your team?
12.
So we're sitting here talking to a guy who in our industry has 12 guys behind the scenes, and you've been doing work for Sunstopper since 2019. That's 6 years. Mm-hmm. Did you see Sunstoppers go from 9 stores to 70 stores, and you've been with us all along the way?
That's right.
Who did all of my Google ads who did all of Sunstopper's ads?
That was us.
That was my man right there. So I just wanted the audience to see my what's it called? Chief Marketing Technologist, my Director of Demand Generation. Ooh, I like that one. Yeah, AI is so amazing. We're a Chief Digital Strategist. So if you want to get a hold of Bren and you want to talk to the supercomputer and you want to have super amazing ads and you want to have transparency, okay? What that means is that you can get data, analytics, where you can look through how many clicks you got, how much you paid. You put the customer's credit card on file with Google. They do that, and then you charge for your team's time and setup and management fees, correct?
Correct.
So it's basically a pay-as-you-play, and then if you want to play, this is what you gamble with, and this is what you get coached and strategized and set up, and you do all the stuff on the front end, and then you do basically weekly, monthly calls and go over all this data with them, right?
That's right.
And you're completely transparent.
That's right.
So if anybody wants to grow their business, reach out to Mike Burke. I have just started a new company called Captivate Marketing, and we partnered with IBX, and I am going to be basically a broker. It's kind of like an auction where you go and buy a car and you have a buyer's fee and you have a seller's fee. What I'm going to do is charge us a flat monthly fee to Bren, a flat monthly fee to the client. And I'm going to do the strategy call to basically go, okay, what industry are you at? Phone, sales, process. I do a lot of more things similar to what you do. And then when I come give you the strategy, I go, I've already taken 1 hour of my time to talk to this business and get kind of a hands-on approach and say, okay, Brand, we've talked. These are the 3-4 pain points. This is the budget. I'm eliminating.
It optimizes his time.
It optimizes his time. It's not that I don't want to put some dude on the phone with him, but the guy doesn't know where to start. He wants to cook a cake, doesn't know that he needs eggs, sugar. I'm the guy that tells him what he needs, gives him the recipe and says, hey, Brand, we're going to make a cake. And this is what ingredients we need in it. And then you make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do. And I'm still here as a coach. When you have a coach of a successful Super Bowl team, there's a head coach, there's offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators, there's special team coaches. There's a team of people that it takes to get that championship. You're part of my team, and I'm part of your team. So, and Garrett's part of my team. So if you guys want to win, give us a call, and we would love to work with you. And if you want to wrap anything else you want to say?
I appreciate it. It's an honor, Mike. It's an honor working with you.
Yep.
It's been a lot of fun seeing Sunstoppers grow. It's been a lot of fun seeing the systems we put in place work and get better over time. And I'm excited about, the fact that, we want to see the small businesses
We really do.
We want to see them do better, to get time back for their families, to be able to hit the targets that they want, to, really have that dream that they're looking for. But it could take a lot longer to try to figure that out on their own. But they can leverage your experience, your time. One of the best pieces of advice that I ever read was, you want to leverage other people's time, expertise, and money.
Absolutely. Garrett, you want to wrap anything up?
I really love this, and I would say that if you're a business owner and you tell clients that you are the best fit for them, even though you're a bit more expensive, because you can deliver the quality, you should be looking at your own business that way and should be seeking out the same thing.
If you're on Facebook and I am seeing probably 10 different media companies in the last year that are on Facebook going, if you want to grow your window tinting business and you want more leads and you want this, and they're in a shop, right? And they're just completely doing the as seen on TV approach, right? How about I show you $12 million worth of square monthly? How about I screenshot some shit and say, hey, 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week, 30 grand a week, 40 grand a week. I know shops that don't even do 40 grand a month. We're doing 40 grand a week. So if you want to see real numbers, real data, this is the dude that made it happen.
Well, all those guys, all the courses guys.
Oh, yeah.
I've got all this. I'm 16, and I just saw a parody on that. And but all those guys, I mean, they're all.
I'm seeing them all over the place. I am literally seeing some dude walk around in a shop that looks like he's 19 years old saying, if you want to make more money in the window tinting business, buy Google ads. And I have, bro, you just freaking got your ears wet. You haven't even graduated high school, and you think that you know everything there is to know about science because you're out here marketing on Facebook ads. Listen, if they're marketing on Facebook and you're clicking on them, you're clicking on the wrong people. These are the people behind the scenes that make
You're
every
clicking on an influencer.
You're kicking on an influencer that spends his time bottom feeding. And what happens is, when I say bottom feeding, is these guys are going and taking your money, spending it, and then within 3 months, you're firing them. And that's what I see. And I don't know that many that have 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Sunstoppers, 6 years. So I build teams. I draft players. I've had some other players on the team, but I want to meet you to the guy who is my offensive coordinator. He's right here. And if you guys want to meet my offensive coordinator, call me. All right. I'm going to wrap it up. Real Talk, Mike Burke. Appreciate this episode. We wrapped up 59 minutes and 54 seconds. I'm getting better at this, man. 1 hour. Man, I love doing this. Thank you so much, my buddy Bren. This is awesome. Garrett, it's always been a pleasure.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Guys, be good.